Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Nerdy Movie News Roundup, the show where we round up all, and I do mean all, of the latest news in the world of nerdy movies. We actually have a lot of stuff to get through, so let us not dilly and or dally. Let's just jump right into it. So, first up, there was a trailer for Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver, and I'm going to take this another opportunity to say, fuck you, Netflix, I'm not watching this shit. I refuse, okay? They're doing the thing to Zack Snyder again where they're just, for no real reason, not releasing his movie and then telling us that to get excited for the Snyder Cut, bro. Don't worry, guys. The R-rated director's cut is coming out later. And it's like, all right, you know what? If you're going to tell me that this is a fake movie, if you're telling me that this movie isn't real, then all right, I'll just wait for the real movie. I'll wait for Zack's true vision in all of his director's cut glory. I don't need to watch this yet. From what I've heard, they're really bad. So I am going to watch Rebel Moon at some point, but I'll wait until they put out Zack's vision first. Okay, I'm not wasting my time with this weird studio-mandated cucked version. So I will take as many opportunities as I want to complain about that blatant sham that Netflix is doing with Rebel Moon. Okay. Next up, we also got a trailer for The Acolyte. So this is the next live-action Disney Plus Star Wars show. So the interesting thing about this one is that it's going to take place in the High Republic, which is 100 years before the Phantom Menace, I believe. Yeah, that's correct. And I think it looks good. You know, I like seeing all the Jedi around. Definitely reminds you of the prequels. I like the murder mystery sort of tone that they're going for here, where, it looks like there's somebody out there, they're killing Jedi. I wonder who could it be? Surely not the Sith, or a Sith that they're killing Jedi, and so the show is going to be about them trying to figure out what's going on. And so I guess. Listen, I'm not like the biggest Star Wars nerd, but I guess maybe this will be like a story about the first time a Sith has appeared, or I guess. Hold on, oh my god, I'm sorry, I sincerely have no idea how any of this works. So the Old Republic, I think technically takes place before the High Republic, right? So I guess there were Sith back then, right? So maybe this isn't the first time that the Sith have appeared, but maybe it's the first time in a long time that the Sith have appeared. I don't know. I guess maybe they're just there's gonna be more lore building in any case. So, sure, it looks fine. But yeah, it looks good. But there wasn't really any moment in the trailer that made me go, "Whoa! Oh my god! It looks so cool! Wow, look how cool that is!" There wasn't any moment that had me like that. But overall, I enjoyed the trailer. And I guess Carrie-Anne Moss was kind of a soy moment where I was like, oh my, look, it's Matrix lady doing Matrix martial arts moves. That was pretty cool. But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully another trailer comes out and it's great and amazing and such. But we have other Acolyte information. We'll get into it later on in the episode. Next trailer, we got a trailer for Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra. So this is a video game. And this was a story trailer, and this game looks pretty sick. So the basic premise of this game is that, as the title would suggest, it takes place during 1943, during World War II, and, Captain America is active, and he's doing his Captain America stuff, and he meets up with, this would be T'Challa's grandfather, I believe, who was the active Black Panther during that time. And so in the trailer they meet up, and it kind of feels like Batman v Superman, where it's they're gonna fight for a few minutes and then they're best friends. That kind of seems the direction that it's going in. And it looks really great. If it was a trailer for a movie, it would become my most anticipated Marvel movie, even over Deadpool 3. So yeah, I absolutely can't wait for this. The one thing that there are a couple red flags. So the first one is that it's being directed by Amy Hennig, She is the director of the first 3 Uncharted games, and unless I'm mistaken, she's kind of been off the map ever since then. Like she had like a couple projects. Like I know she was also working on Star Wars 1313, which was that Boba Fett game that got canceled. I believe it got canceled because Lucasfilm sold the rights rights to Disney, and Disney was like, "Nah, we're not going to we're just going to cancel that," which was obviously frustrating. But so I don't think it got canceled because it was bad. But then I just don't think she's done much since then. I don't know if other projects of hers have been canceled, but this is like her coming back since Uncharted 3. So it's like, does she still got it? Hopefully she comes back with a vengeance, but that is a question mark. The other one is that, so we're going to be playing as Black Panther and Captain America, obviously, but we're also going to be playing as like a U.S. soldier and a member of the Dora Milaje, it looks like. I could see I could see those 2 characters end up being like Mary Jane and Miles Morales in like the Spider-Man games, where, well, Miles Morales pre-Spider-Bite, where the games are just like, now play as a human being with a taser. Yes, this is engaging gameplay that we have cooked up for you. Yes. I could see people getting kind of like, okay, well, this kind of sucks during those specific segments. I honestly don't mind the Mary Jane segments, or like the Miles Morales segment in the first game, or even the Miles's girlfriend segment in the second game. I don't mind those segments as much, but people get really upset by them. So we'll see how they handle them there. I think it'll be different in this game because it's like a soldier and a member of the Dora Milaje, so it's like their gameplay should be fun. It'd be funny if like you start playing as a soldier and it just turns into Call of Duty. So I mean I don't think it'll be nearly as bad as the Insomniac human segments, but we'll see. Overall, game looks incredible. And the other thing as well is that it was a story trailer, so it's really just cutscenes. We still haven't seen gameplay. I'm fine with that because this is going to be a very narrative-based game, and it's made by Amy Hennig. They describe it as like a cinematic game experience, so it's probably just going to be like Uncharted, but with Captain America and Black Panther. We can imagine how that's going to play like, right? So I'm not too worried about that. We'll see. Next up, we got a trailer for Furiosa. So I've never actually played or watched any Mad Max film. It's just not a franchise I ever got into. So this will be my first one, and it should be okay for me to just jump into this one because this is a prequel to Mad Max Fury Road. And I also think that, is Mad Max Fury Road not a quasi reboot? I don't think it's explicitly connected to the Mel Gibson Mad Max movies. Could be wrong, but in any case, I'm pretty sure I can just walk into Furiosa, and it's a prequel to everything at the end of the day. So yeah, so I watched the trailer. It looks cool. I really love like the color grading in these trailers. The movie just looks like high octane, high energy. Really love the way it looks. The car stuff seems like a lot of fun. Love Anya Taylor-Joy, of course. Chris Hemsworth looks great in this. I really like this role that they have for him here, where he's playing the villain, which is super cool. And he's going just like full Aussie, crazy Aussie in this, which is awesome. So it looks really great. Not really much to say. It just kind of looks like fun, but because I mean, again, I didn't watch Mad Max Fury Road, so I don't think I'm supposed to be walking into this expecting Shakespeare. I think it's just going to be high octane action, which I'm more than okay with. So next up, we have a trailer or teaser for The Penguin. This is, of course, the follow-up to The Batman. It's going to be an HBO Max series, and it's a direct follow-up in the sense that it takes place after The Batman. And, of course, at the end of The Batman, you kind of get that. There was that little shot where the Penguin is like staring out into the window, and he's staring at the wreckage of Gotham City, and he's like, "This is my city for the taking. Falcone's gone. It's this is my time. I'm Tony Soprano. It's my time to take over. I can't do a mobster accent. And this is gonna be what that based off of the trailer. This is what the show is gonna be about. It's gonna be about the Penguin rising into power and taking over Gotham and whatnot, and building out a legacy for himself. And yeah, this really looks like it's just gonna be a crime drama in the vein of The Sopranos or The Godfather, and I am perfectly okay with that. It looks very good. Colin Farrell obviously looks amazing as the Penguin. You can't recognize him in the role. If you don't know it's Colin Farrell, you wouldn't have known that he played the Penguin in the Batman. So we don't see him in the trailer, but I have to imagine Batman will be in it. Like Robert Pat. I remember there were like set photos. There weren't set photos, but there were photos of like Robert Pattinson just like hanging out near the set. I vaguely remember that. And yeah, it's like you would imagine that he'll pop up in this. Like we're kind of in an age now where movie stars are like they don't view TV series or streaming series as like lesser things. So you have MCU stars popping up in Disney Plus shows and vice versa. So I imagine that Robert Pattinson was willing to shoot a couple scenes for this. Like I don't think he's going to be a big presence in the show, but I think he will appear. And yeah, absolutely cannot wait. Absolutely love the Batman. Yeah, those are all the trailers that we have for today. So next up, let's look at the event. Let's talk about the Avengers. So Disney has confirmed the title change for Avengers 5. So if you look at this image here, this wasn't like a PowerPoint for that like Disney made for like their investors or whatever, where they were like, look how much money we made on all of our franchises. Look at the return on investment on all of our franchises, which is, by the way, Frozen. 9 times they've made. I think I listen, I'm not a fucking economist, but I think what they mean is that based on how much money they spent on making Frozen, like that first Frozen movie, they've since made 9 times more money on that IP. They made 5 times more, or I guess 9.9 is like 10 times the amount of money that they spent making Frozen. They've made like 5.5 times the amount of money that they made making Toy Story. 3.3 times the amount of money that they've made, with the Avengers franchise. Or I guess acquired Marvel. Oh, is this just Marvel in total? Or Avengers? I don't know how they say they acquired Marvel. Are they saying that they've made 3 times the amount of money just on the Avengers alone that they spent on acquiring all of Marvel? That's crazy if they're getting this estimate without taking into account all the other Marvel movies and stuff. That's stupid how much money that is. Holy shit, that they've made off of Marvel. And then yeah, listen, we can sit here and criticize Star Wars all they want, but they've made their money back since they acquired Lucasfilm. But yeah, the important thing here is that if you look on the Marvel line, Disney is officially confirming that Avengers 5 is no longer called Avengers: The Kang Dynasty. So it's kind of an official thing. It's been reported on, but yeah, it seems like they are in fact moving away from Kang, or at the very least, he might still show up in Avengers 5, but it seems at this point that he's not going to be like the main villain. He's not going to be the next Thanos of the MCU. What will they pivot to? Who knows? Maybe Doctor Doom. That kind of seems like a likely option at this point. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see how exactly they handle it. Next up, we have our first set photo for Superman Legacy. So this is a character called the Engineer. This is how she looks like in the comic books. So she's like a lady that I guess has like nanotechnology, and she has like a metal suit or something. I don't know anything about her, but this is I'm literally only saying that, like, pulling this up because this marks the first set photo of Superman Legacy. Or sorry, not Superman Legacy, just Superman. But yeah, we'll see how it works. Like maybe like whenever, or I should say, so she is also a part of the Authority, which is gonna be another movie in the DCU. So I believe this was confirmed before, but yeah, the Authority is also, there's also confirmation that the Authority is being set up in Superman. So that's also interesting, but yeah, I don't know anything about the character, so I'm gonna move on. I was gonna start yapping about it, but why even bother? Yeah, now let's talk some more about the Acolyte, I guess. So, it's gonna come out on June 4th, and before the day before the trailer came out, they put out this pretty cool poster. Actually, it says, "In an age of light, a darkness rises." Every time I see the word rises, I think of Bane from The Dark Knight. Rises. Yes, I'm Bane. Bah. The darkness rises. I'm so good at impressions, but it's pretty gnarly poster. You got like the lightsaber with like blood instead of the light blade. It's pretty cool. We got some info on it, so let's move over here to it's coming from Collider. This is a quote from the showrunner. I would say that when I pitched it, I definitely pitched it as a multi-season show. So the goal here is to have multiple seasons of this. There are a lot of things at the end of this season that I think are narrative threads that are not tied up for sure. However, I am the type of writer that is not interested in an emotional cliffhanger. I want you to feel like you've had a particular type of catharsis and an emotional experience in watching those 8 episodes because I like rewarding the audience with that. So I mean that's cool, right? So they're the showrunner saying that they want this to be a multi-season show. They want more seasons, but they want to make each season a satisfying experience for the viewers. So hopefully it ends up being the case that if this show ends up being canceled, because listen, the response to it has not been particularly positive. So who knows how well it's going to do with the viewers in terms of viewership. Because I think it's also a pretty expensive show to make. We'll get into why in a second. But it at least hopefully it'll end in a satisfying manner, so that if it gets canceled, we're not like, what happened to Glorbaglop? What's gonna happen to Shibbleboo? Whatever Star Wars stupid character name. But yeah, let's actually get into now let's get into why it looks like it's gonna be expensive. So this is coming from the Hollywood Reporter again. This is also from I believe a quote from the showrunner Leslie Headland, but I didn't make this image properly. Now that I'm looking at it, but it says, "We didn't use the volume at all, so it was a lot of prepping for the show." So yeah, they apparently they didn't use the volume at all. So they shot on location, they built sets and whatnot, a lot like Andor. Didn't use the volume, and you could really tell with Andor that show did look really good. So I'm hoping for the best here. Okay, Leslie Headland, she was the showrunner on Russian Doll, so they didn't get just some schlup to make this show. And I've never seen Russian Doll, but it's critically acclaimed, and I've never heard anybody say anything bad about it. So hoping for the best, but of course we will have to wait and see. All right, now let's talk about X-Men 97. So we have a video from the head of Marvel streaming and animation, where he confirms a season 3.
So I do have to start with one question. I just want to get out of the way, and I'm sure you're getting asked about this quite a bit. But with Bo leaving the project, Bo DeMaio leaving the project a week ago, I would just love to hear, has that had any impact on the project we're about to see, or anything like that we're going to feel in the future, or just what you can speak about any changes that have come from that?
Yeah, I mean, this is it's filmmaking, right? It's a community has to come together with a single vision to conjure something on the screen. And it takes the passion of many talented people to bring something like X-Men 97 to life. Bo had a lot of respect and passion, a lot of respect for these characters, a lot of passion behind the storytelling. Wrote scripts that the creative team was able to draft from. And we're we're already through, the animatic phase of season 2, but even that, we're still developing story even in animatic usually.
Mm-hmm.
And we're developing season 3. So his I'm grateful for his contribution. But as they say, the show must go on, and I'm fortunate to be surrounded by one of the best creative teams I've ever worked with.
So yeah, we talked about it last week about the whole Bo DiMaio situation. That was the showrunner on the show that got fired. We still don't know exactly why. Actually, it's being speculated that that he was, or it's been reported that it was because he was like difficult to work with, apparently, and apparently because he had an OnlyFans, Marvel also didn't like that, but it seems like a combination of those two that eventually just led to him being fired. We don't know what like the straw that broke the camel's back was, but at least the Brad Winderbaum, right, the head of Marvel streaming and animation, he's saying that none of that has affected the development of the show, and that season 3 it should still be coming. But I will say it's kind of like apparently it's difficult to work with, but if you listen to the reception of X-Men 97, he seems to have done good work because people really like the show, at least the first 2 episodes. And yeah, I've not seen them yet because I'm still in the middle of watching X-Men the animated series, so I was really hoping to catch up before this show came out, but alas, 'tis not the case, unfortunately. But yeah, let's actually talk a little bit more about Brad Winderbaum here. So he talked about Ironheart, and he admits to something that I've been speculating here on the show as well. Or, I mean, it's been reported on, but I've been talking about it on the show. So let's actually just listen to Brad Winderbaum again.
There's one hot rumor about my favorite character that I don't know the sources of it. It's just one of those things that bounces around on social media. Nova. I'm never going to stop asking about Nova until I see Nova. The hot one about Nova is that it's going to be a special presentation. Can you give me anything about my guy Richard Rider or Sam Alexander? Another great version of the character.
We love Nova. We are in really early development on Nova. We have a new system behind the scenes at Marvel Studios where we're developing. We're more like a traditional studio now. We're developing more than we actually will produce. So there are plans to develop Nova. I love Nova too. I love Rich Rider too. Like I hope it gets to the screen. The world is chaos. There's always things. It's hard to make anything. You got to conjure these things to make them happen. But I would love to see a Nova show one day.
Hey man, one day. One thing you guys already wrapped up. This is my last question for you. One thing you guys wrapped up is Ironheart, which has been pushed down the line a little bit. I'd love to hear if you could speak on when we can expect that, and if there's anything you can speak to about the delays there, if there's any changes being made or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, like, in all honesty, there was a mandate to kind of create as much as we could for Disney Plus as quickly as we could, and then there was a shift, and all of a sudden we have to start spreading our release dates out. So that really accounts for a lot of the delays. Now we're using that time. We're not sitting idle. So it's like it's kind of it stays in the oven. You can bake certain things a little more. You can kind of like it's actually I think ultimately it's only going to make things better. But most of it's just frankly like just shrapnel from the business,
Yeah.
So yeah, but I've been saying that the main reason why I think that the MCU has gone down a bit in phases 4 and 5 is because we've talked about how there was a mandate to create as much content as humanly possible for Disney Plus, and it clearly put a strain on Marvel Studios. And there we have the head of Marvel and the head of Marvel streaming and animation explicitly saying that. so yeah, that's why I've been a little bit more positive on the future of the MCU, because like I'm not gonna get super down and depressed on it until we get like the rebooted Daredevil Born Again. Like if that comes out and that's terrible, ain't no excuses there, bro. You know, they've done a bunch of reshoots apparently trying to make Captain America Brave New World better. If that comes out and that's terrible, well, raise the alarms, you know. But then again, those are projects that were worked on before, you know, the change to quality over quantity comes out. So I guess I would say the ultimate, I think, first project that comes out that's like freshly just has nothing to do with that, or that is fully developed within their new paradigm. What would that be? I guess it might end up being one of the Avengers movies, right? Or like maybe Shang-Chi 2. Because when you look at projects like Ironheart, which by the way he mentioned there, so it's interesting that I honestly thought they were going to cancel that. They just weren't going to release it, but it looks like they are. I guess that Nova show actually that's early in development that he talked about, that could be a potential one, but we do unfortunately have to wait a bit, right? Like we have to wait, and for whatever the next project ends up being that isn't a remnant of the past Marvel, and whatever the first project of this new initiative, that's really going to tell us if they still have what it takes. Because if we keep on getting like beyond stuff like Daredevil and Captain America Brave New World, like again, they said that they're making those better, by the way, so those should be good as well. But if we get past those and we keep getting garbage products, it might be time to call it a wrap on the MCU. But we'll see. I'm still remaining hopeful. But yeah. Okay, so next up, let's talk about The Crow. I didn't know that this was a comic book movie, by the way. I had no idea. So I guess I could take this opportunity, now that I know this, to talk about a controversy around it. So this is coming from CBR. Alex Proyas, this is the director of the last movie, or of the first Crow movie, wrote on the Facebook post, "I really don't get any joy from seeing negativity about any fellow filmmaker's work, and I'm certain the cast and crew really had all good intentions, as we all do on any film. So it pains me to say any more on this topic, but I think the fans' response speaks volumes. The Crow is not just a movie. Brandon Lee died making it, and it was finished as a testament to his lost brilliance and tragic loss. It is his legacy. That's how it should remain." So this all comes from the fact that we're getting a Crow remake. I've never seen The Crow. I didn't even watch the trailer. I might end up covering the movie because it's a comic book movie, but we'll see. I find this really fucking gross because I'm an idiot. I really should have pulled up all the quotes, but the director of the movie, he says that he doesn't want to speak anything more on the topic, but this comes after him shitting on the movie, and it just comes off as petty, I think, for like a director to like shit on a reboot of a movie that they made. Like that just comes off as petty to me and gross. But then like an actress from the old movie started coming out and talking about how this remake is disrespectful to Brandon Lee, a guy that apparently died while filming the guy that played the Crow. He apparently died while filming the original movie. And now the director is coming out in this statement saying like, The Crow was a movie that's dedicated to Brandon Lee, and that's how it should remain. And it's like, that is fucking disgusting. To use somebody's death as a weapon against a movie that has nothing to do with Brandon Lee. Like, I'm sorry, but The Crow is a comic book. Your movie is based on a comic book that had a legacy before your movie, before Brandon Lee played him. Why are you like wielding Brandon Lee's corpse as a weapon against a movie that's based on a comic book that doesn't like you don't own this IP. Neither literally, obviously he doesn't own the IP, nor philosophically, because one of your stars tragically passed away filming the movie. That doesn't give you ownership over the IP. That doesn't mean that like nobody can ever make another movie in the franchise. I don't know. The behavior by the people that worked on the original Crow movie, it's just disgusting to me. This is just really gross. The way that they're trying to sandbag this new movie. Now listen, I haven't seen the trailer. I don't know. I explicitly didn't want to see the trailer because I don't want to know if the movie looks bad. I don't want to know if it's going to be bad before making this argument. None of that matters. What I'm specifically talking about here is the absolutely disgusting behavior by the director and by like one of the actresses. I'm sorry, I should have pulled up the older quotes, my bad. But I really just want to call out this disgusting behavior because Brandon Lee's death should not be brought up anywhere during this conversation. Like, it's okay to like dislike the movie, or dislike the look of the movie. It's okay to say that like the new Crow guy, the way his costume is and his makeup is, it looks cringe or whatever. That's all fine. You can have that opinion. It has nothing to do with Brandon Lee. To even bring him up in your criticisms of the movie, it's just fucking disgusting. So, I don't know. I just wanted to bring this up because that really bothered me the way that the director is acting here. It's really fucking gross. But yeah, we'll move on. All right, next up, Teen Titans. They are getting a movie in the DCU. So this is coming from the Hollywood Reporter. The comic book movie division of Warner Brothers Discovery has tapped Anna Nogueira to pen the screenplay for the project. The hiring further ensconces the actress and playwright turned scribe into the DC family, as she is already writing Supergirl Women of Tomorrow for the label. So yeah, we're getting a Teen Titans movie apparently. This is pretty interesting. I really like the Teen Titans. You know, growing up as a kid, I loved the original Cartoon Network animated series. There was even a period of time where I was watching Teen Titans Go, like not religiously or anything, but I'd watch like reruns of it. So I've always really enjoyed this property. And it's definitely, it is a question though of, is this something that they'll be able to sell as a film franchise? I'm not sure. I mean, I think there's definitely a passionate fan base of Teen Titans fans, but when you want like the general public to come onto a Teen Titans movie, are they going to want to watch it, or are they going to see it as like a kids thing? I don't know, especially because I'm assuming that this would come after Batman the Brave and the Bold, and Damian Wayne Robin is probably going to end up leading the Teen Titans movie. Like, I would just assume that that's how that's going to work. So we'll see how that all plays out. Maybe them spinning it off of a Batman movie, maybe that will sort of lend more people to be interested in it. But I mean, listen, if it's a good movie, it's a good movie, and it'll probably do all right. And yeah, it's cool that the lady that wrote Supergirl Women of Tomorrow, James Gunn, seems to be very happy with that script, and the fact that she's now writing something else for them is pretty. It also speaks well for the quality of Supergirl. So that's neat as well. So we'll see how it happens. You know, who people are talking about who should be cast as the Teen Titans. I honestly have no idea. I don't really do castings. I'll say this: like people were fan casting Jenna Ortega as Raven. Is that very obvious? Sure. Does it work? I mean, yeah. I don't think it's a bad idea. But yeah, we'll see what ends up happening. This movie is probably pretty far off. All right. So next up, let's talk about James Bond. it looks like Aaron Taylor Johnson has been offered the role. This is coming from The Sun. I don't have the image. Give me 1 second. All right. Eon Productions, which makes the spy thriller films, is on course to start shooting this year. A source said, Bond is Aaron's job should he wish to accept it. The formal offer is on the table, and they are waiting to hear back. As far as Eon is concerned, Aaron is going to sign his contract in the coming days, and they can start preparing for the big announcement. The next Bond movie had been delayed because of last year's Hollywood strikes. So yeah, this is like a UK publication. I'm not entirely sure how many stories they break usually, so it should just be noted that it's not coming from like Variety or the Hollywood Reporter. But Aaron Taylor Johnson would be a good choice, I think. You know, he's British, he's suave, he's muscular. I guess, I don't know, and he's a great actor. So I definitely think he'd be a good James Bond. I know people really want like Henry Cavill. People also want Idris Elba. I think at this point he's simply a little too old. Even Henry Cavill might be old because he's like in his 40s now. I don't know. I think you go. I think you go for a guy in his 30s, maybe even late 20s, which is what Aaron Taylor Johnson fits that mold. So, yeah, I don't think it's gonna go to an Idris Elba. I don't think it's gonna go to a Henry Cavill. I think it is gonna go to like a more out of left field pick or like an unknown. I think that's probably what they're gonna end up going with. Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see when it gets confirmed. All right, next up, let's talk about Gen V. They're going to be filming soon. There's a video, so let's play.
You want a show right now?
I'm working on a show called Gen V, which is aired on Amazon. Season 1. I did not work on season 1. I'm currently helping them with season 2.
Awesome.
Which is a breaking story, and they start shooting not too long up in Canada now. They're gonna production starts in probably 2 or 3 weeks.
So yeah, Gen V is about to be filming in 2 or 3 weeks. I guess that was like about a week ago that, or like 4 or 5 days ago that I recorded that video. So I guess in 1 or 2 weeks from now. But yeah, I absolutely love Gen V. I like that we're getting a season 2. And like every time we get a new The Boys like spin-off, I'm like, do I really need this? Like, is The Boys getting a bit overplayed? And, like, I always have that feeling going into a Boys thing, honestly, whether it be a new season of The Boys or one of their spin-offs. But every time I watch a season of The Boys, I'm like, yeah, no, that's really great. You know, I went into The Boys Diabolical. I was like, this might be like not really worth my time. It was really great. I kind of went into Gen V being like, okay, we'll see, but it was really great. So and they're not stopping. Like, they're still doing The Boys. We're getting another season of Gen V. They're also doing like another spinoff called like The Boys Mexico or something. So it's like, and I have my doubts about all of it, but I've also had my doubts before, and I have not disliked any element of The Boys universe thus far. So yeah, we'll see what happens with Gen V. All right, let's get into the Dead Boy Detectives. This is technically a comic book thing, so we'll talk about it. This is coming from Variety. The Dead Boy Detective series has set its premiere date at Netflix. The series will debut globally on the streamer on April 25th, based on characters created for DC by Neil Gaiman and Matt Wagner. Dead Boy Detective Season 1 consists of 8 episodes. So, one question that I have about this, actually, let me see if I can look up the answer to this. Okay, yeah, I was actually curious to see if this Dead Boy Detective show is going to be set in the same world as The Sandman. And apparently it is. So, I mean, yeah, I guess that makes me inherently more interested in the show. But yeah, I watched the trailer for it, and it looks like it's going to be almost like a YA sort of thing. It was a lot more funny than The Sandman, which is very self-serious. A lot more upbeat, where the Dead Boy Detectives are like a pair of 2 little like teenagers that are brothers, and it looks like they're ghosts as well, and so they run around solving mysteries and whatnot. So it looked like it could be cute, and apparently it's set in the same universe as the Sandman. So yeah, that inherently makes it a lot more interesting. So I'll probably check this out. I will say. So we'll see. All right. Next up, let's talk about The Eyes of Wakanda. So this is an animated series, and apparently it's going to be set in the MCU proper. So this is coming from Men's Health. Eyes of Wakanda, more than any other show, fits right into our Sacred Timeline MCU continuity. Black Panther director Ryan Coogler is a producer on it. Todd Harris is one of our longtime storyboard artists who directs it. It's about Wakandan history and mythology, and it's really cool. So, yeah, I actually wasn't sure about this because it looks like most of the animated series that they're doing isn't really in the MCU properly. Like, What If is, of course, like a weird multiverse thing. X-Men 97 isn't really in the MCU. Marvel Zombies isn't going to be in the MCU. Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is not going to be in the MCU. Like, I'm sure all of these things are technically in the MCU, like, multiverse, but they're not in, like, the same universe as, like, the movies and, like, the live-action movies and TV shows. So I think it's cool that Eyes of Wakanda is actually going to be in the universe in that way. So we'll see what it ends up being like, or about, I should say. I think it's going to be more of like a prequel series, from what I understand. So we shall see. All right. For our last story of the day, I'm going to talk about Captain America 4. Anthony Mackie just confirmed some stuff. It's come from Collider. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I really enjoyed doing that show. I was actually excited to do a second season, just so me and Sebastian Stan can get paid to hang out, because it's like me, him, and Daniel Bruhal. I don't know how to pronounce that guy's name. It's kind of like the perfect storm of happiness. When they decided to go back to the movies, it is what it is, but I don't have my friends anymore, so it kind of dampens it a little bit. Anything I can do to hang out with Daniel, a dancing Daniel Bruhal, makes me very happy. So yeah, this is, I guess, confirmation that that Bucky and Zemo are definitely not going to be in Captain America Brave New World. It's one of those things that it was kind of looking like that was going to be the case, but now we have official confirmation that they're not going to be in it. We also have quasi-confirmation that we're definitely not getting a second season of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which we kind of already figured. Like, it would be weird for, like, Anthony Mackie to get his own movie to then be like, and now we're doing another Falcon and the Winter Soldier season. Like, this doesn't really make any sense. But yeah, also just, like, kind of weird that Bucky wouldn't be in Captain America 4. I mean, I guess I get it, because the way that they're, like, pitching this movie is that it's really going to be about Captain America, like, proving himself as being worthy of picking up the mantle, and I guess maybe he's gonna have to, like, fight all of his threats without the aid of a super soldier in Bucky. And I mean, I also wouldn't have minded if fucking Zemo was there. He's not a superhero, but I can understand them wanting to make a movie about Sam Wilson, Captain America, really proving his worth with the mantle. But it's also like, I really like their dynamic, so I was like, I want to see Bucky in there anyways. I don't know. I'm hoping that they're, like, debating us and that Sam will pop up in Thunderbolts or something. And obviously everybody's going to be in, like, the Avengers and whatnot. So, well, we'll see how it's handled at the end of the day. But yeah, Bucky will not be in Captain America 4, and we're also definitely not getting a Falcon and the Winter Soldier season 2. But yeah, that's going to be it for this episode of Nerdy Movie News Roundup. We had a lot of trailers to talk about today. But yeah, had a good time. I hope you had a good time. Of course, if you want to see more from this channel, oh god, I'm tired. If you want to see more from this channel, be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell. Right? Does that work? Or I hear YouTubers all the time say that the bell doesn't really work. Maybe it doesn't work, but hit it anyways. Also, like the video if you want to see more. Also, check out my main channel. It'll be in the description below. That's where I post like edited content. If you want to hear me have a coherent thought. Yeah, go check that out, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.